So one of the next things I'm going to do here is I'm just creating a blank form that I'm going to use to show the similar types of wizard behaviors for hooking up a web service. And the web service I'm going to hook up to is basically the same one that you saw me demo in that earlier in the runtime experience, the Zeta Bank online account type of form. So off here on the left, we have yet another new to this release palette entry called web service. So when you want to add a web service to your form, you take it from the palette and pop it onto the design canvas, which is the sort of your visual representation of the form. And it allows you either by specifying a URL, so pretty much any deployed web service has some kind of URL way of getting to the WSDL, or in my case I happen to have the WSDL on my local computer, so I'll just pick that instead. And our code will actually read the web service and find out what operations are available as defined by that web service. And it will give you the option, usually off, but it will give you the option of automatically generating user interface that would be mapped to the inputs and outputs and the triggering mechanism for running this web service. This I'm going to click this because this allows you to quickly test drive a web service. But oftentimes this will be off because you want to have a drag and drop experience to hook up the inputs and outputs of the web service directly to the user interface elements of your pre-existing form. So you have the option of doing it either way, because once some user interface is generated for you, you can do, if you choose to go that route, you can relay it out, do whatever it is that you want. All right. So sort of also new in the outline area, we have a web services drawer. So there's the form user interface outline, but now there's web services here. So I'm just going to collapse this so you see I've only dragged and dropped one web service, so there's only one web service entry in the web services drawer. But it will show you all the inputs, all the outputs, the triggering mechanism, and certain other behavioral aspects of this form. And if you click on it, it'll actually highlight on the design canvas what is mapped to that input, or what is mapped to that output. And if I grow this a little bit larger so you can see what's going on, it actually is showing you the actual physical names of these objects within the form. And it turns out you can actually drag and drop these elements onto the form. And I'll do a drag and drop in a moment, but I wanted to have the minimal amount of time between when I use the web service wizard and when I flip over to the runtime experience. And I'll expand that out so you can see what's going on a little bit better. And I'll just type in the inputs and show you that this web service will actually run in your running form without really having done any coding. Okay. So, in the prior releases, you could get our forms technology to do this type of operation, but you had to do a lot more manual coding in the pointy bracket source view in order to get this to work out, whereas now we've created this wizard experience to set all of this up for you automatically. Okay. So as I said before, you have this web services drawer that shows you the inputs and outputs, and I'm going to show you the drag and drop experience by changing the triggering mechanism, because it's the same whether you're changing the inputs, outputs, or the triggering mechanism. So by default, the user interface generator created a button that you press, but oftentimes people want to run their web services by just typing in a value, and when you hit tab, it runs the web service. So if that's the kind of triggering mechanism you want, let me go ahead and delete the button here. As soon as I deleted the button, it may be a little hard to make out in the web service or in the web conference here, but the web services drawer actually knows when something's not quite right with the web service anymore, and in this case, it's giving you the little warning symbol and saying you've added a web service, but there's no way to trigger it. Now, of course, there isn't, because we want to do a drag and drop here of this trigger onto the input mechanism and say when this input is typed, we want that to be the triggering mechanism. And our code automatically knows what event you want. So if you drag and drop the trigger onto a button, it's the button press. If you drag and drop it onto the input mechanism, then obviously it's the value change in that input mechanism that you want to be the triggering mechanism. So now I'm going to go back over. You see the button's gone. I type the input once again, And just by hitting tab, which I'm about to do here, I hit tab, it runs the web service, and once again, the table grows to show however much data came back from the web service. All right. So it really is that easy to set up web service connectivity into your forms now.